Sometime in the next 24 hours, you will almost certainly eat one of them. Perhaps it's the vibrant hue of cheddar cheese or the sweet essence in a scoop of ice cream. It might even be the fiery kick in a bowl of noodles, 4,000 miles from where the plant first grew. 6 of the most beloved flavors on Earth share an unexpected origin. Not India, not the islands of the East, Mexico. Ironically, the country that gifted these spices to the world. Over the next few minutes, a journey awaits, exploring 6 spices that originated from Mexican and Mesoamerican soil, now dominating kitchens from Madagascar to Sichuan. We will begin with their current homes, tracing each flavor back to its common source, following the routes that transporting them across the globe. 6 spices, 1 homeland, a journey spanning. Imagine a hillside in northeastern Madagascar, where workers navigate between rows of climbing vines, gently touching each pale flower with a sliver of bamboo. This island in the Indian Ocean produces 80 to 85% of the world's vanilla. Picture a bustling wholesale market in Andhra Pradesh, India, where mountains of dried red chilies reach the back wall, ready to flavor dishes across continents. Visualize a dairy plant in Wisconsin, where the rich orange hue that makes American cheddar unmistakably cheddar comes from a seed once smeared on the faces of Aztec warriors. Envision a health food shelf in Sydney, overflowing with bags of tiny black chia seeds, hailed as a modern superfood. Vanilla chili annatto chia. These flavors are woven into global cuisines, treated as if they have always belonged. Yet none of them originated where they are now embraced. Every flavor mentioned traces back to a stretch of land between central Mexico. To understand how a handful of local plants became global commodities, we must revisit a pivotal moment in history. For thousands of years, Mesoamerican peoples, the Maya, the Aztecs, the Totonac, cultivated a remarkable pharmacy and pantry. These plants served as currency, medicine, tribute, and ritual. Sacred yet commonplace, this isolation shattered after 1492, when Spanish ships began crossing the Atlantic, initiating the largest exchange of plants, animals, and disease in human history, an event historians now call the Columbian Exchange. Crops that had evolved in total isolation were suddenly transporting across oceans, and the spices of Mexico became some of the fastest travelers. Within a single lifetime, let's explore how, one plant at a time. The first spice, vanilla, possesses the most peculiar modern journey. If asked to identify its current home, you would likely say Madagascar, an island off the coast of East Africa. This region accounts for around 80 to 85% of the world's natural vanilla, while Mexico, its birthplace, now produces a mere 500 tons a year, roughly. Vanilla is the seed pod of an orchid, first cultivated by the Totonac people along the Veracruz coast, long before the Aztecs absorbed it as tribute, stirring it into bitter chocolate drinks. However, when the Spanish transporting the plant back to Europe, a frustrating problem arose. The vines thrived in nearly any warm climate, blooming with flowers, but no fruit ever formed. For nearly 300 years, Europe grew vanilla leaves and flowers without yielding a single usable pod. The one insect capable of pollinating the orchid thrived solely in Mexico. The impasse was finally broken in 1841, not by a botanist, but by a 12-year-old enslaved boy named Edmond Albius on the French. Albius discovered how to hand-pollinate the flower, lifting a tiny flap within the bloom and pressing the male and female parts together with a thin stick. This simple gesture, performed by a child who would die in poverty, remains the method used on vanilla farms worldwide. Nearly every vanilla pod you taste exists because this painstaking process is why real vanilla is so expensive. By weight, it's the second most costly spice on Earth, surpassed only by saffron. Following a cyclone that struck Madagascar in 2017, prices for top-grade beans skyrocketed from around $20 to over $600 per kilogram. Consequently, most vanilla flavor consumed globally is synthetic. The actual orchid fulfills well under 1% of global demand, yet the taste has captivated the planet, while the plant struggles to keep pace. Shifting now to our second spice, we find one that did not travel slowly at all. It erupted across the globe. Chili from the capsicum plant spread faster than Surprisingly, the largest chili producer today is not Mexico or India, but China, which grows around 45% of the world's chilies. approximately 18 million tons annually. Mexico, the original homeland, ranks a distant second. India dominates the dried red chili market, producing nearly half of the global supply and becoming the... None of this existed 500 years ago. Before the Columbian Exchange, chili peppers were unknown in Asia, Africa, or Europe. Domesticated in Mexico, where wild chilies were consumed for millennia, the plant was carried by Portuguese and Spanish traders. Within roughly 50 years, it reached the coasts of India, the ports of Africa, and the kitchens of China. Consider that timeline. A plant relied upon for centuries in one nation integrated itself into global cuisines in less than a lifetime. In the Indian state of Goa, it was called Pernambuco pepper, named after the Brazilian port from which it arrived. In China, chili records only appear in the late 1500s, while in Sichuan, it does not appear until around 1749, blending with local peppercorns to create the region. The chase for heat has since left Mexico behind. The hottest pepper ever measured, Pepper X, reached a staggering 27 million Scoville heat units in 2023, bred in Fort Mill, South Carolina by Ed Curry. To put that in perspective, a jalapeno measures around 5,000 units. The plant originated in Mexico, but its fiery competition is... Our third spice, annatto, is one you may have consumed without realizing it. Known in Mexico as achiote, this seed from a small tropical tree serves as the most widely used natural food coloring worldwide. It's the reason many cheddar cheeses are orange, coloring butter, snack foods, and indigenous peoples across Mesoamerica utilized the rich, brick-red pigment as body paint and dye long before European contact. The Maya incorporated it into food and ritual objects. Once it reached Europe, dairy makers embraced it, using it to provide cheese with a vibrant golden hue year-round. This practice began in the 17th century and continues today. However, the modern landscape of annatto has shifted. Leading producers now include countries like Peru, Brazil, and India, with Peru supplying a significant share of the global seed trade. The US stands as the largest single market, importing the majority. Interestingly, the spice is experiencing a quiet resurgence as food regulators tighten rules on synthetic dyes. Manufacturers are turning back to this natural Mesoamerican pigment to replace them. A coloring once worn into battle by the Aztecs is now the clean label choice. Now we arrive at our fourth spice, one that nearly vanished from existence. If you've followed thus far, know this. The tale of how chia rebounded from the brink of extinction is one of the strangest comebacks in food history. To the Aztecs, chia was fundamental, regarded as one of the four cornerstone crops of their civilization. Alongside maize, it was demanded as tribute from provinces under Aztec control, used as currency and featured in religious ceremonies. Yet this very significance led to its near demise. Following the Spanish conquest, colonial authorities suppressed crops tied to indigenous rituals, causing chia to dwindle, surviving only in isolated pockets. Then, around 2009, chia surged back into the spotlight, fueled by a best-selling book on endurance running and a global hunger for superfoods. The modern map of chia is once again shifting, as this ancient seed reclaims its place in color. The Aztec crop has faded into obscurity, its legacy overshadowed by South America, which now dominates the chia market, producing roughly 80% of the world's supply. Paraguay emerges as the leading producer, harvesting nearly 49,000 tons in a recent year, with Bolivia and Argentina trailing behind. Even Australia plays a significant role in this global industry. A seed that faced extinction 5 centuries ago now flourishes as a billion-dollar commodity. Though botanically classified as a seed, chia encapsulates a remarkable journey. From its Mexican origins through suppression, the fifth spice tells a different story, one of resilience. Allspice, known as pimento, is the dried berry of a tree native to the Greater Antilles, southern Mexico, and Central America. English traders named it in the 1600s, captivated by its unique flavor, cinnamon, nutmeg, and clove, all in one berry. It flavors Caribbean jerk seasoning and finds its way into European sausages and pickled fish. It enriches gingerbread, pumpkin pie, and lends its aroma to American chili. For centuries, Jamaica held the reins of allspice production. A monopoly in attempts to cultivate allspice beyond its native lands met with failure for centuries. The seeds thrived only after passing through a bird's digestive tract, a natural process essential for germination. Spain and other empires tried in vain, their plantations yielding nothing. Jamaica's monopoly persisted, protected by the appetites of local birds, but change is relentless. By 2018, Honduras quietly surpassed Jamaica as the leading supplier of allspice to the United States, claiming a larger share of the market. Jamaican exports dwindled, and at one point, the grip of biology that had secured Jamaica's dominion for 300 years slipped away in just a decade. And so we turn to our sixth and final spice, a tale of misidentification and surprise. Mexican oregano mirrors its Mediterranean cousin in appearance and scent, seasoning tacos, salsas, and chili with ease. Yet beneath the surface, it belongs to an entirely different botanical family, related to verbena instead of mint. Despite their similar flavor profiles, these two plants are not kin. Mexico is a significant source of this herb, primarily foraged. Mexican oregano stands as an imposter at the culinary table, a native herb stepping in for a Mediterranean counterpart across kitchens in the Americas. Yet, not every Mexican spice ventured beyond its homeland. Consider epazote, a pungent herb with Aztec roots, cherished in Mexican and Caribbean cuisine for its ability to tame a pot of beans. Its use remains largely confined to these cultures, untouched by. Or think of hoja santa, the fragrant leaf that wraps fish and flavors moles in southern Mexico. It rarely travels far, losing its essence when dried, and its essential oil contains a compound banned by U.S. food safety regulators since 1960, a remnant of the same legacy that removed sassafras root beer from shelves. Some flavors are destined to spread, while others remain anchored by law and the pantry is not a mere collection of jars. It maps one of the largest plant movements in human history. Vanilla from an African isle, chili from a Chinese field, orange dye in cheese, seeds in smoothies, all trace back to the same ground in Mexico. There, people cultivated these plants millennia before any ship risked the. Mexico gifted the world 6 of its most beloved flavors, yet retained little in return. This journey through history reveals not just the spices we cherish, but the interconnectedness of cultures through flavor. Each spice, each plant, tells a story of migration, adaptation. If you found value in this exploration of hidden histories, let this be just the beginning. A world of flavors awaits, each with its own tale, each with roots that dig deep into the past. Join me as we uncover one plant, one root, and one forgotten